For the last 100 plus years, people have been creating engines. But there are some engines that just stick out more than others. Today we're going to talk about 10 of the most iconic engines ever made. Number 1. The RB26 DETT. The RB26 is a straight 6 twin turbo that was produced from 1985 to 2004 and returned to production in 2019. The block was made out of cast iron and the head made from aluminium alloy, which contains the dual overhead cam 4 valves per piston setup. This awesome engine became famous because of the fact that it could make a lot of power on stock internals and because of its screen time on the Fast and Furious. The stock engine could hold 650 horsepower with no issues. Here is a few clips of how this amazing engine sounded. Number 2. The Mazda 13B Rotary. The rotary engine is famous for being a very compact engine with a lot of power, but all that power at the expense of horrible gas mileage. The 13B was a 1300cc engine that did way above its weight, taking on 2 liter and 3 liter engines of the time. You can find these engines in anything from an RX-7 rotary to a rotary mini. Because the engine was so small, it's easy to swap into just about anything. Number 3. The 2JZ. This engine is the most iconic engine ever, in my opinion. It became famous in the Fast and Furious with this line.
Hey, pop the hood.
Pop the hood?
Pop the hood.
2JZ engine, no shit.
And no shit indeed. This 3 liter packed a serious punch. And because Toyota over-engineered the engine, the power tuners could get out of a stock block was silly. Because of its closed deck iron block and cooled cast aluminium pistons, this amazing engine could hold 800 horsepower on stock internals, and 1000 plus is possible. Number 4. The EJ25. The EJ25 is a 2.5 liter turbo boxer engine that could produce 320 horsepower. These engines are quite common among young and poor car enthusiasts, as they aren't too expensive to buy and modify. Let's not talk about reliability, as it's not one of their strong points. If you are interested in one of these, make sure you have a lot of cardboard boxes in your garage. She tends to wet the bed. But reliability aside, they sound freaking awesome and they go like shit after curry. Number 5. The Elise V8. Now if I'm serious, I'm more of an import guy than an American muscle guy. But even I have to say, the LS is a monster motor. The LS motor has been known to reach close to 1000 horsepower on stock internals. So they are great for tuning. But that's not the only reason people love these engines. They are cheap and almost every scrapyard in America has at least one LS, since the motor was used in so many vehicles. And then you get the aftermarket scene, which is a tuner's wet dream. There are plenty of upgrade routes and a lot of parts to choose from. If you're looking for power, this is the engine to buy. Number 6. The Honda B16. Out of the factory, the B Series VTEC is cool. But it's not like they had tons of power and they didn't even How did this engine become so iconic? When most of us think of a VTEC Honda, all you can see is that some tiny guy in a wife beater revving the ever-loving shit out of the car. But that's not why this engine is so special. Some tuners could get this engine to over 1000 horsepower with properly sleeved engines. With a large aftermarket scene, cheap parts and a light car, it's a recipe for greatness. Number 7. The Porsche Flat 6. If you think of a Porsche, any Porsche, what engine comes to mind? Yes, the Porsche Flat 6. The Porsche Flat engine design can be traced back to the Beetle, which made 35 horsepower at the time. And now the Turbo S has more than 600 horsepower. Now that's progress. Now why do Porsche love this engine design so much? The Flat 6 engine is a very smooth running motor, and the crankshaft is perfectly balanced for long cruises at high speed, without causing too much strain. Plus, with a sound this iconic, why wouldn't you use it in just about all of your cars? Number 8. The Chevy Small Block 350. The Chevy Small Block engine was the go-to engine for race cars. Why? Because they were cheap, and there were plenty to choose from. GM made over 100 million small block engines. This tiny V8 was easy to work on, and some races even got over 2000 horsepower out of these tiny little motors. Now I say tiny, it's still a V8, not really that small. They started the production of the small block in 1955 and they still make them to this day as a crate motor. So you can literally go to the shops, not like your grocery shop, but you can go and you can pick up a brand new 350 crate motor still today. After like what, 60 years? That's crazy. Okay, anyways, number 9, the SR20 DETT. The SR20 is one of the most popular engines found in people with personal drift cars. The original red top SR20 came with a T25G Garrett turbo and produced 200 horsepower. Later Nissan introduced the final version of the engine in the S15. This blacktop SR had a T28R ball bearing turbo which made 247 horsepower, and it made this power at 7 psi. So with a few mods and a tune, there's a lot of potential. Getting over 300 horsepower is easy and relatively cheap, but over the 400s is getting a bit dangerous and is recommended to upgrade the internals. Number 10, the 4G63T. The 4G63T is a legendary 2-liter engine that Mitsubishi produced from 1987 to 2007. And because the engine was in production for so long, there are many developments and upgrades that Mitsubishi made over the years, like forged rods and heavy duty aluminium pistons. The engine has a cast iron block and high flowing cylinder head. The stock block could reach 1000 plus horsepower, and with 20 years of aftermarket development and parts, it's like a candy store of parts to choose from. In other words, it's easy to get the stock 270-ish horsepower to over 450 horsepower. Now if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and someone go look through the other ones as well. Check in the next one. Cheers,